Hey guys, it's Julie. I'm going to show you today how to do a welt pocket. Now this will work for any welt pocket tutorial you have as far as the steps, but this one specifically is for the Elevation hoodie from New Horizons Designs. So this is what the front will look like. It's got a nice pretty color front. Your hand can go in and out, and then the back looks something like this. All right, so in the pattern, you're going to print it out, you're going to put it together, and after you've cut out the front bodice, there's going to have markings on it for your welt pocket, these two little red dots. So you're going to mark those on your front bodice. You're going to print out or cut out your pocket piece like this. Make sure there's going to be a right and a left, make sure it matches up, and you're going to apply your interfacing to that pocket piece where it tells you to, at the top of your pocket. Then you have your pattern piece, and you're going to lay it on top of it, and you're going to draw your square. And then your square has a little cutout where it wants you to cut this out. You're going to put it on top and put those dots there. Okay? So what I like to do after I've put the dots on is I get my hole punch and I punch those holes out. It just helps for lining things up a little bit better. It might take an extra second to do it, but it'll help you in the long run with placement. So you cut that, you punch it out. There's going to be a little flap, which I just snip off. So now you have holes. So you're going to lay it down right side to right side on your front bodice, and you're going to, you'll see here in a second, you have your little red dots poking through your holes. Okay? And pin it in place so it doesn't move around. Then you're going to take it to your sewing machine and you're going to stitch around this whole box, starting and back stitching at the beginning and end when you do it. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so now that you've got it stitched down, this is what the reverse side of your fabric is going to look like. You're going to see the stitch line. So now you're going to cut that slit open. So I like to fold mine in half and carefully cut through both layers of your French terry. Well, French terry is what I'm using. You're going to go cut to the hole, and then you're going to go from the hole to each corner, getting as close to, but do not cut through your stitch lines. So now it looks like that. You're going to go on the back side and do, or the other side, and do the same thing. Getting as close to, but not over your stitch line. Okay, so now it looks like that. So now we're going to take it over to our ironing board. Okay, now that we're at our ironing board, you're going to lay it out and you're going to feed this through the opening of the hole and go to your back side. And you're going to just kind of wiggle it around to make sure it all gets pulled to the wrong side. That's why you want to make sure that you cut as close to those stitches in the corners as possible, because it'll make it lay nice and flat. Then you're going to iron it in place. And what I have recently discovered to be a fun, not a fun, but a helpful trick is when you're done doing your initial press down to make everything flat, I get some spray starch. And then it makes it a little crisper and kind of just keeps it where it should be instead of getting all wiggled around and whatnot. Okay, so this is what the back side now looks like, and this is what the front side looks like. You should have a pretty good rectangle. Now you will put your bottom pocket piece, you're going to push it or fold it up towards the side seam. and you're gonna iron it again just to get that nice and crisp there. And you're gonna fold it down about a 1/2 inch, but just enough to cover that pocket opening, so when you go to stitch it down, you won't catch this. So then iron it in place. I'm gonna use a little bit more of my starch. It works so well, keeps everything lined up so neat and tidy, and I don't have to get it all messed up. So now that you have that ironed, this is what the back looks like, and this is what your front looks like. Okay, so still working from the wrong side. You're gonna, after it's been ironed and pressed and all that out, you're gonna get a pin. You're gonna fold the top part back towards you, and you'll see a little triangle. You're gonna pin the triangle to those pieces. Okay, you're gonna do that on the bottom. I'll show you again. So when you flip it over, you've got a triangle piece down here. Okay, that's from when you cut those stitches from the square, and you're going to pin it in place. Oops. So it stays together. Okay. Now, let's take it back to our sewing machine. Okay. Now that we're back at our sewing machine, we are going to tack down those little triangles to keep them together with the front main piece. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip your piece so it's right side facing up. You're going to go from the top bodice, you're going to fold it down. So this is what you see now. You've got your pocket piece here and your front bodice here. We're going to do a line of stitching from here down to the bottom of the triangle. Just go over the triangle and make sure you don't catch your front bodice in anything. Take your pin out so you don't break your needle. We're just going to go over that a couple times, just to make sure it's really tacked down. Okay, so now you see that there and right there, and now we're going to do that to the bottom piece. So you're going to work from your right side, flip the bottom bodice up towards the top, exposing your triangle piece and your pocket piece, and you're going to sew across your triangle piece from top to bottom a couple times to keep it in place. Don't catch your front bodice in this. It's very important. Okay, so now that's what that one looks like, and the back. So now your piece looks like this from the front, okay, and this from the back. And now what we're going to do is, working from your right side, you're going to sew a square around your pocket opening. Do not sew it shut. Keep this part open, so when you get to the bottom corner or the top corner, whichever way you're doing it, you're going to kind of pull it out just a little bit, just so you go through this top layer and the back of the pocket piece. Make sure that you don't catch any of the extra pieces, because you want to make sure that this is nice and flat. Make sure to back stitch at the beginning and end of your stitch line. So now that's what the front of our pocket looks like. It's nice and tidy and clean. And the back of our pocket. You can give it another press if you want to. If you're ready to move on to the next step, that's what you do. If you're using any other pattern that has a welt pocket, continue on with those instructions. For the elevation hoodie, we're going to make the full kangaroo pocket, so we're going to continue on. So what you're going to do now is fold your pocket pieces, or your bodice, right sides together. And your pocket pieces will fall past about 3/8 inch, since that's what the seam allowance is. So you're going to pin those two together. Okay, so now here's the bodice fold, and this is your pocket pieces. We're going to pin those two together. then you are going to sew them together with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. So after you pin it together, go ahead and pull the lining down so you don't accidentally catch it. So let's put it back to our 3/8 inch seam allowance. This will result in your pocket seam being on the inside where your hands touch. If you don't like that, reverse it. So do your pocket pieces wrong sides together and stitch these wrong side or right sides together. And that will be on the outside of your pocket instead of the inside. Okay. So now that that's put together, it'll lay flat. So you're gonna press your seam open. I'm just gonna use my fingers. So this is what the inside is gonna look like now that you've got your two pocket pieces together, and this is what the outside looks like. Nice, cute little welt pockets. So to finish our kangaroo pocket, you have your pocket piece B. You're going to put it right sides together because this will show when you use your welt pockets. You want to make sure that your right sides are together. You're going to pin around, pin around, pin around, making sure that you're being accurate. And this we're only going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance because we just want to sew them together. We don't want to do anything else. Consult your pattern just to see what you need to do for that, for your own specific pattern if you're not doing the elevation hoodie. But if you are, follow these instructions and you will have a pretty pocket. Alright, now that I've put them in place, I'm going to stitch around them a 1/4 inch and show you what that looks like. You may do this with your serger so you have a nice finished edge, or you can do a straight stitch and zigzag after it. Make sure to start and stop back stitch at the front and the end of your stitch lines. Okay, so now that it's all stitched together, it'll look like this on the back. Hopefully yours will look nicer. You can give it a good iron and that'll help it out too. And then the front. And our last final step is we're going to stitch across this seam here so it doesn't flap open like that. We're just going to give it a nice stitch so it stays flush with that side. Okay, so now that you've stitched that down, you're going to do the same thing to the other side, and then you have your finished welt pocket from the elevation hoodie. And watch, you can stick your hand all the way through. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. We'll see you later.